Tell your story.
Change the conversation.
Organized by students. TEDx Youth at SHC.
I like to joke that I learned how to play poker before I could walk. But that's only somewhat of an exaggeration. My tiny hands could barely grasp the cards, but my dad insisted I deal. After learning the basic rules, I quickly became frustrated. Specifically, there are many hands in poker in which you must make a game-altering decision and have no idea if it was the right one. This was crazy to me. When I had played Monopoly or Go Fish, I quickly realized when I made a wrong move, and my opponent's position was abundantly clear to me. And at one point in our multiple-hour session, I remember I had a pair of sevens. The flop is a 6, a 9, and another 7. The turn is a queen, and the river is a deuce. I had a set of 7s. I had my dad in the palm of my hand. Then he goes all in. It occurs to me he could have 10-8, meaning he'd have a straight, beating my set of 7s. I know this doesn't mean much to you, but my dad was essentially banking the entire game on this one hand. I'd have to decide whether to fold or to call. Was this a hand worth risking the game? Was my dad bluffing? Statistically, it was likely, but his eyes said otherwise. His eyes said I was done for and my hand was beat. After lots of thinking about the situation and attempting to read my dad's unreadable face, I folded. He had to have something better than my set of 7s. Why else would he risk the whole game? Or was that his point? Was that exactly what he wanted me to think? Was he bluffing? We mucked the cards. One of the most popular variants of poker, Texas Hold'em, vividly demonstrates its depth and intricacy surpassing trivial luck. The primary objective is to create the best possible 5-card hand using a combination of 2 individual cards and 5 community cards. And each player is challenged to formulate their own hand and observe other players. Betting rounds allow players to bet, raise, increase the bet, and check, not bet. It's crucial to assess your own cards, as well as anticipate the bets and moves of your opponents. Although this is true for a lot of other card games, like Gin Rummy or even Uno, these games don't compare to the social complexity that poker offers. Beyond the rules of the game itself, success relies on observing the movements, the actions, and even the mannerisms of your opponents. Maybe you're walking into a history test, and maybe you have no idea what the test is on. You chose not to study because you've been paying attention during all of your classes. Maybe you're a doctor, and your patient has weirdly vague symptoms, and you choose to make a general diagnosis. Maybe you go into an interview to be a video game developer, and you choose to say you have extensive experience world and story building in computer life simulations, when in reality you've just played a lot of Sims. Now, you're not lying, but you're kind of exaggerating your hand. You're bluffing. And every day you make small choices based on circumstances, trying to see other people and understand the situation, even though you never truly will. This is what life is. The struggle for balance on the spectrum of luck and control. Well, in this hand I was playing with my dad, I was faced with a similarly difficult decision. I quickly reached over to grab the discard pile and find out the truth. My dad quickly scooped up the deck and shuffled right before I could see the cards. I was aghast. "What did you have?" I asked desperately. He just shrugged his shoulders and dealt the next hand. He told me I'd never know, because this was real life. I'd have to get comfortable with the concept that there's no such thing as a sure thing, ever. You'll never have all the information you want, and you'll have to act anyways. You can only control your own actions. After considering all these factors and observing your opponent with every ounce of your attention, you'll never know if you were right or wrong. I was livid, but more than anything, I was hooked. Because this is what life is, weighing pros and cons and making decisions with incomplete information, accepting your luck and doing what you can to make the most of it. You've probably noticed that when you're having a bad day, a really bad day, you tend to radiate that same energy. You radiate your anger and frustration onto the people around you. And at the time, it may feel uncontrollable, that no matter what happens, you'll be angry and you'll be heard. I consider myself a person with a pretty strong temper. But as much as I feel my emotions strongly, through both studying and playing poker, I've realized being angry doesn't hurt the person who caused it. You're more hurting yourself. And I still struggle with this. But when you're playing poker, you may make a wrong call, you may lose a hand, or you may even misread your opponent. But the second you get frustrated, the second your emotions take over and get out of your control, you've been consumed. Because a good player is defined by how they play when they're losing, much like how a good person is defined by how they respond in times of hardship. Now, I hope you leave this talk ready to play some poker. Well, maybe not poker, but better equipped for daily decisions, from picking your teammates for a group project or choosing not to let your anger consume you because it hurts no one more than yourself. Now, I know this comes with a couple of heavy caveats. A lot of people are scared of gambling and all of its negative connotations. People lose their life savings. They lose all the essence of life in casinos and at poker tables. I want to acknowledge that these situations exist. They are real. But something as taboo as a game of poker taught me about people, about life, and about myself. But as you've now heard, you are the driver of your own life, and you are the ultimate master of your destiny. Or as Sun Tzu put it, know yourself and you will win all battles. And possessing such power, I encourage all of you to find lessons in the unexpected. And I admit that much of life is luck, uncontrollable luck. But you regain a kind of control by acknowledging this. So whether you're holding cards or facing personal hardship, please remember, it's not about the hand you're dealt, but how you play it. Thank you.